They say power reveals more than it hides. Because sometimes the difference between a protector and a bully isn't the badge they wear, it's the choice they make when no one's watching. This is the story of Officer Daniel Hayes, a man who thought authority meant control, and Marcus Reed, the man whose calm truth would expose what real power actually looks like. But it didn't start in a courtroom or in a police precinct. It started on a quiet stretch of asphalt, on a morning that should have been ordinary. Marcus Reed was driving to his new assignment, a Department of Justice briefing in downtown Atlanta. He wasn't in a rush. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was just being. And sometimes that's all it takes to become a target. Officer Daniel Hayes had been on the force for 9 years. Steady record. No complaints. But that morning, something in him, ego, bias, or just boredom, was looking for someone to remind that the badge still meant something. The radar didn't beep. No speed violation. But the sight of that car, that man behind the wheel, it triggered something he didn't even recognize as prejudice. Morning. License and registration. You in a hurry today? No, sir. Just heading into the city for work. Everything all right? I'll decide that. Keep your hands where I can see them. That tone. That edge. It wasn't about safety, it was about control. Marcus had felt it before, the quiet challenge hiding behind fake professionalism. He handed over his documents, steady and polite. Marcus Reed. DOJ? That's a new one. You expect me to believe that? You're welcome to verify it, officer. See, that's the thing about dignity. It doesn't raise its voice. And that's exactly what made men like Hayes feel smaller. So what exactly do you do for the Department of Justice, Mr. Reed? You don't look like a lawyer. I'm not. I'm an investigator. Investigator. Well, and I'm the president. That line again. The same disbelief that follows black excellence wherever it goes, like it's too much to process that someone could hold authority without the right look. Hayes took a step closer, glancing inside the car. Mind if I take a look inside? Actually, I do. Unless there's probable cause, I'd rather you didn't. You got something to hide? Just my dignity, officer. And that, right there, was the moment Hayes made his decision. Not to protect, not to serve, but to punish the kind of confidence he didn't think Marcus had earned. Dispatch, this is Unit 12. Running a possible false credential case. Requesting backup. False credential? You didn't even check it yet. Step out of the vehicle. And just like that, the scene turned. Because when one man abuses authority, it never stays small. It spreads until someone chooses to stop it. Put your hands where I can see them, Mr. Reed. Step out now. Officer Hayes, what's this about? Possible forgery. He's claiming DOJ clearance. Did you verify it? Working on it. Maria Lopez wasn't new to injustice, but she was new to seeing it happen in uniform. The doubt on her face said it all. Hayes walked to the trunk, gesturing. Pop it open. No warrant, no search. You know the law, officer. Yeah. And I know how fast laws get flexible when someone's hiding something. That was the mistake. Because when arrogance meets evidence, truth has a way of fighting back. You might want to call your supervisor before this goes further. I'll decide that. He should have listened. Because what Hayes didn't know, what he couldn't know, was that the man he was detaining had a direct line to federal oversight. Marcus Reed wasn't just another driver. He was on his way to a DOJ briefing, and every minute this continued, that line of accountability grew shorter. Officer Hayes, you might want to take another look at his credentials. What are you talking about? It says Federal Investigations Division, verified clearance. This isn't fake. That was the first crack. The moment when ignorance met consequence. Dispatch, can you confirm ID number 42971? DOJ field status? Confirmed. Active federal investigator. Proceed with caution. Hayes looked at Marcus. Marcus said nothing. He didn't have to. And in that silence, the badge on Hayes' chest started to feel a lot heavier. You should have said who you were. I shouldn't have to. But the story didn't end there. Because when the truth came out, and the footage hit the wrong inbox, the entire department learned what accountability looks like. The real question wasn't what would happen next. It was how far the system would go to protect one of its own. They say the truth has no volume, but when it finally plays out, it can silence an entire room. The footage started like every other traffic stop. Routine. Control. Until you saw the way he spoke, not like an officer serving the law, but like a man protecting his pride. You got something to hide? Just my dignity, officer. And that was the moment millions of people would never forget. By the next morning, the footage was everywhere. An internal report had been sent to the Department of Justice for review. And suddenly, Officer Daniel Hayes wasn't the one asking questions anymore. He sat in a cold chair, uniform still on, confidence gone. Across from him, two investigators and Captain Reynolds, his superior. Officer Hayes, are you aware that the individual you detained was a federal investigator? I am now, sir. Then you understand what this means. The DOJ has requested a full transcript of this encounter. Audio, video, and your report. With all due respect, Captain, it wasn't about race. It was, save it. I've seen the footage. The tone speaks louder than any excuse. For the first time, the uniform didn't protect him. Because the camera had caught what training couldn't hide, the quiet way bias wraps itself in procedure. Marcus Reed wasn't looking for revenge. He never was. He just wanted accountability, not through anger but through clarity. He walked into a briefing room where two senior officials were waiting. Marcus, we've reviewed the footage. We're forwarding this case to the city for disciplinary action. Anything you'd like to add? Just one thing. He paused, choosing his words carefully. If the goal is reform, start with training that reminds them what respect looks like, not what fear sounds like. The director nodded. Understood. Because Marcus knew something most people don't. Real power doesn't come from punishment. It comes from example. By evening, the city couldn't stay quiet. News anchors called it the traffic stop heard around the country. The mayor stepped up to the podium, reading from a prepared statement. Effective immediately, Officer Daniel Hayes has been terminated for conduct unbecoming of his position. The department will undergo mandatory anti-bias retraining. Is Mr. Reed pursuing charges? No. Mr. Reed declined. He said his goal was awareness, not revenge. That line made headlines. Because in a world obsessed with outrage, he chose something stronger, restraint. And somewhere across town, a man who once thought he owned authority was realizing what it felt like to be powerless for the first time. He replayed the stop in his head, the words, the looks, the tone. For the first time, he saw it the way everyone else did. He started the car and turned it off again. Because guilt, when it finally lands, doesn't let you drive away that easily. That night, Marcus sat quietly, phone lighting up with messages he didn't answer. He didn't want attention. He wanted change. Across the table sat a framed photo of his late father, a veteran, a man who taught him that silence is not weakness. You'd have told me to stay calm. I did, old man. I did. He smiled faintly. Because sometimes victory doesn't come from shouting. It comes from standing, even when you're standing alone. In the weeks that followed, the department began reform programs led by Officer Lopez, the same one who questioned what she saw that day. And for the first time, she didn't look away. Because she'd learned what every good officer eventually understands, that the badge only has power when it serves, not when it controls. Marcus Reed didn't lose his temper that morning. He didn't raise his voice. He just stood tall, and let truth do what it always does, expose what arrogance hides. And Officer Hayes? He learned that authority borrowed through fear isn't power, it's permission waiting to be revoked. Because real power, the kind that lasts, comes from restraint, from composure, from knowing when to stand silent and let justice speak for itself.